Hello, can you hear me? Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Okay, looks like we started recording. Get started. Hi, everyone, and welcome to the session of MindBridge Connect. And whether you're turning in live or catching up with this recording later on, we are so glad you're here with us. Today, we're diving into a topic that hits incredibly close to home for most of us, navigating the unique everyday pressures of student life, something we're all going through, exam stress, balancing our mental well-being with academic goals. And we want this session to feel less like a formal interview and more like an open, honest conversation. And to help us unpack all this, we're thrilled to have MeetArora joining us today. And Meet is a student leader, debater, and founder of the literary magazine Lucent Cinder. Meet, we're so excited to have you here today. Before we dive in, how are you doing?
Thanks a lot to have me here. I'm really happy to share my thoughts today with you guys. And I'm feeling really great, excited, and zealful.
It's wonderful to have you with us. And since you're right here on the ground as a student leader, you see firsthand what our peers are dealing with every day. So let's start with that reality. From what you see, why do you think students are experiencing so much intense pressure around exams these days?
Yeah, I feel like these days it is really important for students to win rather than just trying. Students are coming up with the mentality of winning every battle they face to excel in every single exam, every single competition. And this kind of mentality is exhausting them from within. And it creates a pressure over them to not just participate and give their 100%, but to excel and be the first position holder in every single thing they do.
It's very interesting. I like how you're talking about how students are talking about just winning and not like getting into the opportunity just to engage in
Yeah.
something. So what do you
Yeah.
think? You said that was exhausting. What do you think that constant stress does to a student's mental well-being over time?
Surely it creates a very negative impact on students' mental health. I, as a student, is able to relate a lot with it because these days it creates a sense of anxiety among students. Whenever you are sitting on the bench of the biggest opportunity in your life, you feel butterflies in your stomach and your heart rate just excels a lot and your blood pressure. And I've seen students fainting in front of me before a huge exam in their life. And it's been overwhelming for me to see such a great amount of stress on students, on these young minds. They face anxiety, they face depression sometimes, and they just think and overthink about that one particular thing throughout their life, throughout their session.
So I hear you saying that maybe that opportunity, it's more important to engage with it rather than just winning it. And maybe that opportunity doesn't like determine your whole life. Do you agree with that?
Yes. Yes, sure.
What are your experiences with that? I know you talked about how I know you have very good grades and are top in your school. What are your experiences with the stress around exams?
Yeah, surely. Thank you so much for the compliment. I surely secured 96.2% in my class 10th board exams. And in India, that is huge. Basically, class 10th board is taken to such a level for students' mental health. Everybody in your neighborhood, in your family, everybody just tell you that you have your board, you have to study for it, you have to score well. It is going to be a great benchmark for your life. Everybody just poke the students to just do great. But the only point over here is to tell students to give their best. And what I feel like, it was really stressful for me that whole 1 year of my class 10th. It was really stressful. Whenever my report card comes for the unit test, I used to cry a lot because I could not perform that well what other people expected from me. And it really, really suffocates a child's mental health at that time when they think they are not performing to such an extent with what people expect from them. And it is really exhausting. Trust me, it is very, very much exhausting. Child cries, child howls, and it creates a lot of bad impact on the student's mental health. But the only point over here is that I managed to score well in my exams. But think about those students who just did not manage to score, who were not able to score that much. Their parents and their peers might have not supported them that well after seeing their results.
Yeah, I
And
hear you
I,
talking about how that pressure is coming in from all sides, and everyone or a lot of people in that student's life are bombarding them with that stress.
yes,
Do you think that like
yes, surely.
family, parents, teachers, and like other peers should like take a step down from exams, and that like it's not just the student, but also they need to know that like the people around them, we should not be comparing ourselves to them, and those people should
Yeah.
not be comparing the student to others. What do you think?
Yeah, surely I agree to it. There is not only the student in that matter, there are peers and teachers who plays a great role in supporting a student and in dis motivating them, in not motivating them, and in supporting. In both the roles, a teacher and peer always play a very, very vital role in students' mental health. First of all, what I think that teachers everywhere should be really supportive and should guide the students instead of just saying that they should work a little more hard so they can be the first position holder.
I have
They should
definitely heard that
guide.
so many times. You just need to work harder. You just need to study harder. Sometimes
Yeah,
that's just not enough to like, it's that's not a framework to do better on exams sometimes.
yeah, I totally agree because these are the phrases we hear every single time. Work hard, but nobody is telling you how. What all you have to do, and it creates a lot of pressure because students, if they do not have any answer, they would be searching about it everywhere, and there can be chances that they do not find the correct solution. So it creates more burden. If they try a solution, it does not give them the results they desire. Then they try the other solution, same, no results. So there should be a constant guidance and support from the peers so that they can come up with a particular solution that would work for each and every student individually. Because every student is different, they all are unique, and they have their own things. Like I am now a biology student, and I feel like I just hated math. I hated it a lot in my class
Definitely
10th.
agree with you.
Surely, I hated it a lot. So that's why I pursued biology. But what happened in my class 10th board exams? I was so stressful with my math subject, and I was just wondering around that what I should do so that I can manage to score a little well. So I feel like there should be teachers who should guide the students for that matter. They should tell them what all resources should I follow and how should I manage my stress first of all. They should tell
I
me
agree
that
with you
I am.
there. That there should be
Yeah.
more of an emphasis on like less of just work harder and maybe like more on
uh,
study resources, study tips, and not like just work harder because that's not enough to help students grow, right?
yeah, surely I agree. So they should first of all tell the students to just calm themselves and relax for a little bit so that they can come up with a fresh mind to study after all. That is what I think.
Yeah. So this really highlights the conversation we've just had, how deeply this pressure can be inside students. And it's already inside our schools. And just like how you're talking about, teachers aren't, and the school maybe isn't doing enough to help students like cope with that stress and do better on exams other than just the work hard framework. So looking
Yeah.
at that, do you think the education system waits too long to address the stress? Or do you think they don't address the stress? Or do you think how should schools approach this instead?
Yeah, I feel like there is some fault in the education system, more of all, because the exams are the only thing left in a student's life nowadays. They just think about that one particular exam which they have to excel. And I think education system should be more wide, and should be more that students should be able to explore it. I feel like they should not be limited to exams. They should be limited to more curricular things as well, which should be included in our education system. Not only exams should provide us job, not only grades should provide us job. I feel like our curriculum, our extra curriculum, and our skills should be the one that should be judged, and
I
not that
agree with
one
you that
exam.
maybe too much emphasis is being placed on just one exam because like
Yeah.
in the US we have the SAT and the ACT. In India we have the class 10 board exams. In China we have the Gaokao. All those big exams drive our where are we going to go for college? Where are we going to get a job? That like
Yeah.
it's not fair to students just that one exam is going to determine the course of all your life when I feel a better like metric of a student's like skills and curricular
Yes.
opportunities should be like how they performed overall in school, not just one exam.
Yeah, sure. That is the only point, because these days everybody is just focusing on that one entrance exam and nothing else. I really support your statement.
So building on that, how much of this comes down to like a lack of safe spaces between a school environment that students talk openly before things get like really critical and stress like ramps up a lot? Because I know some schools have guidance counselors, but how effective is that really?
That's a really great question. I feel like many schools, I have in my school itself, they have the counselors, but many of the students do not have the guts to talk to them, to reach there, to tell them that, tell the counselor that they are not that confident within themselves. They are not ready to perform well in the exams. They are not prepared well. Many students fear of the thing that they'll be judged. There are many multiple students, and that is why I think that when we talk to someone who we know, we fear the thought of being judged. That's why students are not able to consult to their school counselors. If we talk about the career counselor thing, if a student just go to someone who is not known to them, the concept of therapy, we go to the people who we are not aware of, we are completely strangers of, and we tell everything to them, every single thing we feel about. So that's why I feel like people we are not known with, we express a lot better to them. That the same thing just makes sense with the students. When they are known to a person, they do not have the guts to tell everything they feel.
So
That's
maybe
why I feel
working
like,
on like I'm not going
hmm,
to be judged for
yeah,
where my grade is because that is not me. Like me and my grade are not the same thing. Like that my
yeah,
grade does not determine where I am. My exam does not determine where I am. And I can talk to someone because I'm a person. I'm allowed to feel that way.
yeah, that's the point.
So, um, it often feels that we're reacting to the breakdown when students like have anxiety and they need something to fix that, right? Instead of preventing
Hmm.
that actual anxiety from ever happening. So before getting caught up in that vicious cycle, how can we spot the warning signs? I know you have must have experience with this, scoring so well on that class 10 board exam for the warning signs for stress and anxiety crossing line from the regular standard study motivation into something very overwhelming.
So there are various signs for stress and anxiety. What I feel is it starts from a very initial state. When you are entering the exam hall, when you're getting the exam sheet, when you're holding your pen and your hands are shivering, if you locate these signs, they look extremely normal. They look like everybody have them in their life. Nobody can escape from all of it. But some students, what happens, they develop a habit of it. In every other situation in their life, they start to feel that same thing, that same anxiety in every other situation which they feel in the exam hall. And that creates a difference, because that can create a very um, bombarded effect on your mind, on your mental health. Because in every situation in your life, you're going to feel stressful, you're going to feel that you are having anxiety, because it creates an habit for you, because you thrive into that situation again and again and again.
Yeah, building into that, like just going into that situation of like um where your mind is so stressed and like anxiety is everywhere. And instead of that just being like it's not just in the exam hall, it's everywhere, right? Like
Mm.
suddenly that stress
Yes.
associated with the exam is popping up everywhere in our life. And that's not
Yeah,
healthy at all.
that's true. It's not healthy, and this is happening everywhere, because I have seen students, they have the stage fear, because I debate a lot, I do public speaking. So in India, what people do now, we have those mantras and those chanting before going to the stage. They just start murmuring them, they just start whispering them. They are so anxious, they have so much anxiety that they cannot cope it up without those things which they believe are going to help them. They do not have self confidence within. They
Self-confidence,
fear
that's
of
a
it.
very, very
Yeah.
key thing. That students need to have more confidence in themselves that they can rise up to that challenge.
Yeah.
That challenge, first of all, it doesn't determine who you are. And whatever you get on that or do with that is not like determining you. And that believe in yourself, that you have the power to succeed on that.
Yeah, surely.
So reflecting on your own path as an active student leader, was there ever a moment during your own academic journey, again, as such a high scorer, where you felt completely overwhelmed by expectations? And what specifically helped you pull through that?
Yeah, I feel that expectations truly burden a person, and I have felt that because of such a grade in my class 10th, and having having a position in my school curriculum as well. I was so overburdened in my class 10th and now as well, because people set unsaid expectations that she is the vice head girl, she is going to score well. She is the head, he is the head boy, he is going to score well. They have this kind of expectations, this unsaid thing, which you can see in the eyes of teachers, in the eyes of the school staff.
That
They
because
have
of your
the,
this sub status or you have a standard of doing this, you need to be better. You need
yeah,
to get this always.
yes, they have a tagline for you that you have to do it because you are the vice head girl. You have to complete it. And this creates a lot of stress, a lot of pressure. What I do to cope it up is to focus more on my curriculum so that I can manage to somehow keep their expectations and not focusing on what people say about me, removing all the things which people say from my head,
That you
and
determine
just,
where you're going and not other people's unset expectations.
yes, truly. I think about my own self, what I think about myself, what I perceive of my own self, and not think what people say.
So, when you were going through that specific moment or wherever that happened during your academic career, did you find it easy to lean on your peers? Was that were your friends there for you? Was it something you had to carry alone, or was it something you could share with your family, friends, your community? How
Yeah, what happens? What happens? I am sort of an emotional person. So whenever I talk of these things that I'm stressed, I have anxiety, I cry straight away. And I feel like crying is totally normal. I totally support it for everybody. So whenever I used to talk to my peers, I feel so much overwhelmed. I felt a lot of overwhelming feeling, and I felt so much emotional to talk to people that I, at one stage, started to keep it all within. But I feel like that was the biggest mistake somebody
Yeah,
could ever do.
I definitely agree with that. Keeping all that stress inside you is it's something a lot of students do, right? Because maybe they don't have people to talk to and they don't feel comfortable
Yeah,
sharing because again, we were just talking about school counselors and stuff that we don't feel comfortable because we feel we're going to be judged for what we're
yeah,
feeling, right? But keeping that in is not a good alternative either. We have to share it and make our feelings heard. Otherwise, all those feelings are going to be stuck inside of us, and that it's just a vicious cycle. More anxiety, more pressure inside of us, all stuck inside of us, and we're never going to get
truly.
better if we keep it all in, right?
Right, that's true. It creates a lot of negative impact if you keep all of those feelings, those thoughts within yourself. That's why I always insist people to talk to someone, to have a very normal friendship with anybody. If you do not like to make friends, that's completely normal, that's your choice. But I always suggest people who are even introvert to have that one friend who they can share their thoughts, or their peers or their
Someone you can
parents
rely
who
on.
can be supportive. Yeah.
So we were just talking about exam scores and letter grades and stuff like that. So you are talking about maintaining the high standards and also managing to protect your peace and your mental health. It can feel really impossible when our generation is practically trained to tie our self-worth or where we're going to go in life to grade percentages, resumes, what we're going to do, like extracurricular activities, what we scored on exams. How do you think students can like break that habit of tying self-worth to like a specific score or letter grade, something like that?
That's a great question. I feel like you are totally right on this point. People nowadays just focus on how to build your CV, how to get a great job, how much are we going to earn, what are we going to be. But what I feel instead, people or students, the youth basically, should first of all focus on what makes them happy. Choosing a right career or building a good CV is going to get you money.
Yeah,
Indeed, it is going to get you.
doing something that you enjoy and not just like
Yeah,
expected of you. Again, tying back to outside expectations. Oh, you're expected to go into this career path or do this with
yeah.
do something that makes you happy, right?
Yeah, surely I support that. Many of the students just spoke. In India, there is a huge craze for being an engineer. Every parent used to force their child to become an engineer, to become a doctor, and every student is running into the same race over here. There are entrance exams which are hugely overcrowded, and because everybody wants to follow the same path, because parents are pressurizing them to do
Yeah,
so.
and it's not just the students like going to that exam hall. You said that parents are pressuring students into
Yeah,
doing this. And it's not just students wanting to do this on their own. We're falling into that
yeah,
vicious cycle because I feel like families are comparing students to other students and therefore moving them into one career path where they might succeed well, or that the problem is that students may not want to go into that career path and maybe they could do
surely.
just as well into something they actually love and enjoy, something that would not
Yes,
make them go into that vicious cycle of exam scores, entrance exam, doing better compared to everyone else in the same career path.
so true. You know what I always say is that choose that one career in your life which you could do the rest of your life every single day without being tired. Because if you choose what someone else would tell you to, you would not be able to do it for the rest of your life happily. You would always be exhausted.
Yeah.
But if you choose something which you enjoy to do, I guess it is going to create a lot of difference. You'll be happy, you'll be energetic, and you would love to go to work.
So moving from the moving what we were just talking to, let's tie back into the parental expectations. I know we were talking about how parents pressure students into going into one career path, and that also ties into like board exams or SAT, ACT, and just like regular school life. So how can students go about communicating boundaries and like trying to separate the school and home from parents whose the encouragement which they're giving is starting to feel like pressure because sometimes parents are meaning well, but it doesn't always come off that way to students, right?
Yeah. That's true. That's completely true. Parents try to tell us, try to support us, try to guide us, but sometimes it just goes off the way, and sometimes those that support just exhaust us a little more by seeing that they want such a great score from us, such a great life for us. We just get exhausted a little more because of that pressure we feel. And I feel like that's completely true. Parents and school Both are at fault in this place. They should guide the student and not exhaust them, because they are already coping up with that mental stress and pressure. They're already in that mode of anxiety and pressure after all. So they deserve a sense of care. And I believe parents should tell their child that they're worthy of everything, rather than supporting them in a way that they exhaust them more. They should tell them that they are worthy of each and everything, and they can do everything. Not just telling them, no, you're not made for it.
Yeah, that like again, students should choose what they want to do, and that parents, even though they're meaning well, shouldn't be like imposing their own expectations upon students.
Yeah, sure, right.
So, we were just talking about how parents are pushing those expectations onto students. What are your experiences with like that sort of pressure, and how do you set boundaries between the parent and the student, and like make sure your parents are not encouraging you in a way that again turns into intense pressure?
Yeah, in my case, it has not been that harsh. It has been soft and subtle. But the things which I have told, it's been all around the society in India. Everybody force their students for pursuing a stream and pursuing that particular career and that particular stream. In my case, it has been a little soft and subtle. They told me to do whatever I wanted to, and that is what good parenting is. That is an example that how parents should perceive the thoughts of a child, and how they should manage to listen to what a child wants.
That key word
They
listen, right? We a
Yeah.
lot of parents may not do that right now. That like maybe listening is the key, right? Maybe on the student side and on the parent side, that listening to
Yeah,
the parent or the child or the student wants to do with their life. That maybe
surely.
the parents don't have to decide it all for them, but maybe the student can like add their own autonomy because it is their life in the end, right?
Right, I totally agree.
So you were just talking about at the very beginning that like how you scored very good on the board exams, but how others might not have, right? And what happened to them? So let's say that someone scores not great on that exam or is faced with an academic setback or a disappointing grade. So how can young people build like resilience and safely process their emotions and make sure that grade doesn't tie into their self-worth?
Yeah, that is a really great question. I feel like I can relate to it in an aspect that I do various debate competitions, and some I have won, but others I may have lost. So I felt a emotional setback in that case, and I felt that I am not worthy. How should I cope up with it? This is a failure for me. What will people think? What will
Yeah.
people perceive of me? They'll think I'm not a good speaker. They'll immediately think that my all the good trophies which I have gained are just not worthy enough, because I have not won that competition. So I feel like, what should I do? What I did on that aspect is I tried to cope up about it, first of all, mentally, by telling myself not to hear to anybody who is saying all that stuff, and to just do positive self talk. That is really important. To talk to yourself. You can stand in front of the mirror and do self talk with and positive self talk, or you can jot down a journal, a diary, and you can write down whatever you have in your head, what you fear of, or what you think is going to happen, what wrong is going to happen, and you jot down everything, and take that page, tear it off, and boom, all that negative stuff is gone. And
I'm gonna
I feel
definitely use
like,
that strategy for in school for
yeah,
me.
yes, it would definitely work.
So we were just talking about those simple, realistic daily habits like that, the paper strategy. So are there any other daily habits or routines anyone can fit into their busy schedule to calm a loud mind and reduce overthinking and make sure that others' expectations are not like impacting you and you're not tying self-worth or who you are to like a physical result?
Yeah, surely. What I feel like, I love psychology, so that's why I feel whatever you believe, is what truly happens manifestation. So I believe that there is one therapy known as the glass therapy. You take a glass of water in front of you and you say good things to it. So many good and positive things that you're worthy, you have your worth, you are unique, you are incredible, you can do it. And then sit in front of it for 10 whole minutes and then drink that glass of water. Believe me or not, there are going to be miracles. Because what there it has been proven that water has some living particles, as we are also made up of water. 90% of our body is made up of water, so that's why water has living particles. Therefore, if you say good things to it or you perceive it as being really great and magical, it's a good tonic for you, it's magic, and magic is going to happen to you. If you perceive it in that way and you drink it, it is really going to create magic. I have read a book called The Power of Your Subconscious Mind, and whatever you perceive, you become. The main agenda, the main theme of this book is this only. Whatever you think, whatever is in your head, you become that. That's why I always tell everybody to think good, to perceive good of yourself, and to do positive self talk in front of the mirror, or just jot down the negative thoughts and clear that page. And secondly, very important, if you jot down all the positive things you have, all the positive attributes you have, and whatever you would like to perceive, the heights you would like to reach in your life, it is surely going to happen. Because whenever you write and you read it out while writing, all the three senses of yours just come into function: your mouth when you speak, your ears when you hear it, and writing, your hands, and the eyes when you write it. So all the senses just come into same alignment.
I
So
completely agree that,
really
and I'm
it really
definitely going to use those strategies in my life. Just want to say,
yeah,
yeah, thank you for sharing
it
them.
really empowers you.
So I know you run a creative outlet like um your magazine, The Lucent Cinder. So does that serve as like your mental sanctuary to step away from the day-to-day academic pressure, sorry, the pressure from class 10 board exams or like just the daily academic or extracurricular, just whatever goes on in your life? Does a creative outlet like that or a passion project serve as your personal mental health sanctuary?
Surely it did. I would 100% agree it did. Because when you have something else to think about, to give a thought about, to overthink about, I would say, you do not overthink about those negative aspects. You start to think more about that positive thing which you have to nurture. Like I have my magazine, my lucent cinder. I made it before my board exams, so that I can think about that. How should I manage my magazine? How should I make it more fruitful for people who feel deeply? So I just got less time to think about the stress I was having for the exam, because that time I utilized in thinking something fruitful.
I definitely agree with that, having something positive to think about instead of just exams. I feel like that's
Yeah.
something we do like maybe that helps us from exam stress. Maybe we already do that unconsciously. Maybe if we have something fun we're looking forward to and there's just the exam after that, we're thinking about the fun thing and maybe the exam stress is going down.
Yeah,
I definitely
surely.
agree with that. And that's something I think a lot of people find very useful. Distracting yourself or building that all that pent up energy towards something which is positive and which is good for you, right?
Right. That's true.
So, as we draw to a close, if a student's listening to this recording right now and they're feeling completely alone, feeling entirely isolated and overwhelmed by life's expectations right now, what is one
Mhm.
single biggest truth or core takeaway message you want them to hold on to?
See, I would like to say, and I believe it the most, that resilience is the highest power, is the most powerful tool one could ever have. Even if you fail, even if you do not score well, even if you have lost, it After all, it does not matter. Nobody is going to ask you how much you scored in your first standard, how much did you get in your eighth standard, what trophies are you having, what all have you done in your life. They are going to ask you that, are you happy, are you doing enough, are you making enough for yourself, are you earning enough for your own self. Because what truly matters is not that just one exam. What matters is how you perceive of life, how you think life is going to be. If you think life is going to be beautiful and magical for you, it is surely going to. And I think marks are not just the thing which you should focus on. There are multiple skills which people should grow, because after all, skills is going to get you that dream job and not that mark sheet of yours.
I
And I
completely
believe,
agree, and that maybe like we shouldn't be tying ourselves just to, again, about self-worth. It's not just about marks
yeah,
and stuff like that. Continue, please. Sorry for the interruption.
no problem. And the final piece of advice would be that even if you fail, just have the courage to start over again. Even if you fail, it does not matter. Whatever people would think about you, whatever rubbish they are going to talk, whatever backbitching they are going to do, it does not matter, because it's your life. It's your life. You are going to live it. So do not focus on what people are saying. Just focus on how you have to cope up with that setback of yours, and how you will develop a sense of resilience to overcome that failure, and it will surely give you the best of outcomes.
I really agree with what you just said there, that like it doesn't matter what anyone else says about you because you determine whether you're happy or not. The only person that will benefit from like those bad things peers are saying is just them. Like you're not going to benefit from feeling worse and worse about what everyone else is thinking about. That's just something peers are doing. You need to focus on you and where you're going to go with your life. And it should be about what you want, what you genuinely want to do with your life, not what others want. And you should
Right,
have the self confidence to believe you can get there on your own.
right. That's true.
Okay. Thank you, Meet. That was a really great truth. That was something, it was a really perfect note that to close on, and it's a powerful reminder for every single person who's listening to this today. So, to everyone listening, thank you for sharing your time with us on this episode of MindBridge Connect. And we hope these strategies, scenarios, and insights that Meet gave us give you some comfort and practical tools that you can use on in your life. And just like Meet said, remember you are never navigating this journey completely alone. And there are always people in their life. Make a friend, and your worth will always be so much bigger than any grade or exam score. So please take care of yourself, prioritize your peace, and we will see you next time.